nobody can tell you what to do. And it's time that we stop giving our authority to other people. We all do that. People say, well, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. We're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't, maybe I should. You know, why do we do that? And that is what I'm doing with star magic. A lot of people don't understand it. I don't either. But it works. So the best thing that every single one of us can do is journey inwards. Drop this third dimensional reality and experience love. And I'm not talking about the love where you say to someone, I love you. I love you, darling. No, 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 no. The real love, the true love, the love that you are, that comes from your heart. You can't say love. Why don't we say, up yours, I'm going to do what I want? Because really and truthfully, that is what we should be doing. Exactly what we want, okay? And not worrying if we're going to upset other people. You're always going to upset other people. And you know what? The more people you upset by doing the right thing, the better job you're doing. Have the courage to go where no one else has walked before and blaze a new trail. That is where you can live in a happy, harmonious, loving, peaceful place. Where everybody cares, where everybody shares, where the world's resources have been shared equally between all men, women and children. That's my mission. I want to change 1 billion lives in the next 5 years. I want to enhance 1 billion lives in the next 5 years. And I'm not going to stop until I've done that. Some people say, Jerry, you're crazy, man. That's a big, tall order. Maybe for you, but not in my reality. The word love can't be described. Words are archaic. The human language is a waste of time in a way, because you can't convey exactly what you mean. You have to feel things. Feeling is the way to having an extraordinary life. We can communicate better when we feel each other. I just see one unified field of love. I just see patterns of light. That's all I see. Waveforms. I don't see human beings, I don't see trees, I don't see buildings, I don't see animals, I don't see flowers. We don't have to manifest it in the future, we can manifest it now, very quickly. But you've got to know this. You've got to stop believing it. Don't believe these things. Beliefs are based on thoughts. Thoughts are dangerous. Start to transcend belief systems and come down into your heart and start to feel and know your way through life. And your fears are only illusions. The greatest version of every single one of you lives on the other side of your fears. So you know what? If you're frightened of something, move towards it. Don't turn and run the other way, because your fears will hunt you down. Every single one of us has a gift to offer this world. And the only way you're going to find that gift is by going into your heart. In the Course of Miracles it says that God never condemns. So God never forgives. Really and truthfully, you've done nothing wrong. All you've done is had an experience. Okay? And that experience is what it is. It's not good, it's not bad. It's only in this world of duality that we think things are good, or we think things are bad, or they're right, or they're wrong, or they're up, or they're down, they're hot, or they're cold. We need to transcend that, okay? Transcend belief systems and transcend duality. And that is enlightenment. Why don't we go beyond that? Into the mystical realms, the magical realms of alternate realities, where there's extraterrestrial beings, where there's angels, where there's fairies, where there's light beings, where everything is light, everything is information, everything is love. Because that is it. That is the key to everything. Love. Love is the most powerful, measurable force of energy in the entire universe. Love created you. Love created me. Love created this building. Love created absolutely everything. Absolutely everything is love. Jesus said God is love. I say love is God. What's the difference between love and God? There isn't any difference. Just a label. It's just love, it's just feeling. We need to transcend belief systems and come to a place of knowing, a place of feeling. This is the key to having an amazing life. When you're starting off on your journey, it's the hardest part. Okay? Do you know that it takes the same amount of fuel to get a rocket ship from the ground into orbit as it does to travel around the entire planet out in space? It's getting going is the hardest part. Just stepping outside of your comfort zone and having that momentum just to get through the crap, to sound off the people that are trying to bring you back down again. Because we all experience negative people and other forces that try and drag us down. The reason I call it star magic is because the magic part of it comes from a symbol that I was shown in the ancient mystery schools. The star part of it comes from extraterrestrial beings. Because I feel that we're all extraterrestrial beings. We've all got soul memory. And our soul memory takes us all the way back to the start, back to creation. And creation wasn't here on Earth. Creation was back in the stars, the planets, out in the ether, wherever that may be. Maybe the stars are inside of you. Maybe the stars are up there. Who really knows? What I feel is that inside our human bodies, we have the same star constellations that are up there in the sky. I don't feel that it's energy healing. I don't believe in energy healing. I call it star magic energy healing, but really it's not energy healing. A better way to describe it would be information exchange. Because all we are is patterns of light, and light is information. So, if I'm going to facilitate the healing of another human being, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to say, please show me what I don't know to facilitate the healing of this incredible human being. Please show me what I don't know. Because you know what? I don't know anything. He who thinks that he knows everything knows less than someone who knows nothing. Because when you know everything, you're confined, you're constricted to what your reality of everything is. And everything on the outside is left out. But when you open yourself up and you say you know nothing, you actually open yourself up to absolutely everything. So I started thinking to myself, you know what, there's more to this imagination stuff than meets the eye. It's not what I was told imagination was at school. I was told imagination was something that you make up. But actually, imagination is reality. What goes on in here is real in another space, somewhere. So I just kind of left it. I was kind of fixated on this body, or whatever it was that was lying on the floor. I got closer and closer and closer. And as I got within about 10 meters of the body, I saw this energy, like hovering above her body. And I now know that it was a soul. At the time, I was like, what the hell is this? So I was focused on this energy. And I got within about 10 meters, and time just stood still. I got closer and closer, and then this energy source just kind of fizzled up into the ether. And it just kind of disappeared. I looked down at this lady's body, and her legs were wrapped up over her head. And I remember looking up to the sky, up to the heavens, and just saying thank you. I felt really blessed to have had this opportunity to actually see what happens firsthand after death. So the universe had to show me something firsthand, physical, to wake me up. It was like someone smacked me around the head and said, Jerry, wake up. We're atoms and molecules in continuous movement in space. We're energy, we're light, we're patterns. Wake up and smell the coffee. And my spiritual journey began. A few months later, my wife had a headache. And I thought for some reason I could take it out of her head. I don't know why I thought that, I just did. So I put my hand over the top of her head, and I saw this kind of green energy source inside of her head. And I kind of stuck it onto my own hand and just pulled it out. And she got up off the bed, and it was as though she never had a headache in the first place. And I didn't really think too much at the time that I'd done anything really special. I just forgot about it really. And then a few months later we moved to New Zealand. And a friend of mine, who was actually my spiritual teacher, she became my spiritual teacher around the same time that I had the car accident. She was in Frenchay Hospital in Bristol, and her partner phoned up and said, "Jerry, can you help?" I don't know why she phoned me, but she did. And my rational brain was like, how am I going to help? How can I possibly help? I'm in New Zealand, you're in England. This doesn't make any sense. But my right brain, my female brain, my intuitive side said, go and lie on the bed and get your crystals out. So I went to lie down on the bed, I put crystals on my different chakras, and then all of a sudden I was in a hospital room, and all this energy started pouring out of my hands. And I just kind of knew what to do. I didn't think about any of this, I just knew what to do. And I started mentally putting her body back together again. And I did this every day for a couple of weeks, and she walked out of hospital in 12 weeks. And even myself, I was thinking, no, I didn't really do anything, she probably just got better. And then she phoned me up and she said, "Jerry, I woke up one night, I looked at the side of my bed, and I said, what are you doing here?" And she saw me with her physical eyes, inside a hospital room, but I was on the other side of the world. You can create your own path through the undergrowth, as long as you're brave enough to walk in. What a lot of people do is they walk to the edge of a cliff, and they stand on the edge of a cliff, and they pray that their wings are going to grow, so they can jump off and fly out into life. But as long as you're standing on the edge of that cliff, your wings are never going to grow. Ever. Ever. So the best way to handle a cliff face is just to stand back from it and run at it full pelt and just throw yourself off into the unknown. And I guarantee you that your wings will grow on the way down to the floor. I promise you. There might be a few bumpy rides, you might hit a few trees, scrape a few rocks, get a few bumps and bruises, but I promise you, your wings will grow and you will soar like an eagle. But you've got to have the courage to step forwards. A little while after this, I was meditating in my friend's garden. He had a pyramid in his garden, a copper pyramid. I don't know whether you know anything about copper pyramids, but if you create them at the right nautical angles and place them in the right direction, they're very, 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 very powerful. So I had a few crazy experiences in this pyramid, but one of them was really profound. I was meditating one day, and this little spaceship came down and was next to me in this pyramid. And I thought to myself, am I seeing this? Is this real? What's going on? But there was this being inside of this little, it's like a space pod. And it opened up, and I went and jumped inside, and we flew up into space. And we went to a planet called Alpha Centauri. We got out of this space pod, and we kind of walked around. It was a beautiful planet. There was no pollution. Everyone was fit and healthy. The beings there looked kind of humanoid, but they were a little bit different at the same time. And they took me to meet what I can only describe as their chief, or like one of their elders, like you get in an Indian kind of reservation. And I knelt down on the floor, and all of these codes, all of this light started pouring into my brain, and it was really, really overpowering and really intense. And I thought, what is all this about? It didn't make any sense whatsoever. After that, they kind of picked me up and frog-marched me back to this little space pod. We went inside, and then within seconds, I was back inside this pyramid, sat in the chair inside this pyramid. And I was like, did this really, really happen? But it was so real. It was like my light had come out of my body and jumped in this spaceship and left my human body behind. Now, shortly after that, I started seeing all these codes. The codes that I downloaded on that planet, I saw them with my physical eyes everywhere I went. I see them now. It's kind of like a mixture of binary codes, hieroglyphs, and geometry. And I was asking, what am I supposed to do with these? What am I supposed to do with these codes? And the sensations that I got were just go and meditate. So every morning I was getting up with my son Josh, and we were sat there from like 5 in the morning to 7 meditating. And we were going into these ancient mystery schools. And we would sit there for 2 hours every single day, and they'd get out all these scrolls and all these signs. It was like being sat in a real classroom. And this happened every day for 9 months. And they were just giving us information, knowledge. It didn't make a whole heap of sense, but it felt right. So I kind of ran with it. And then shortly after this, people just started coming into my life that needed to be healed. friends, friends of family, friends of friends, etc. And I thought, you know what, let me just see if this stuff works. Let me give it a crack. And everything that I was trying was working. You know, I've been on this journey for about 10 years, but it was only a year or so ago that I really sort of came out into the open and started following my true purpose, which is star magic, which is the healing modality that I share with everybody. We need to drop that. Leave it behind. It doesn't serve any of us. And if we're going to bring about this golden age that people keep talking about, then we need to learn to live in the present moment. You know, in the present moment, that's all the spirit knows. The spirit doesn't know future or past. Only the ego knows future or past. And the ego will take you back to the past, to think about all the things that you did that you wish you hadn't have done, or all the things that you didn't do that you wished you had. Or it will take you forward to the future, to be fearful about things that have never ever happened. But most of us worry about these things, or we blame ourselves, or we judge ourselves. I mean, we're blaming and judging ourselves on things that aren't actually real. I mean, that's nuts, isn't it? Really and truthfully, that is bonkers. You know, to beat ourselves up about things that we can't change. Things that happened many years ago. I've already seen it. This is my reality. And we get to choose our own reality every single second of every single day. 24/7. 365 days of the year. When people are looking at you saying, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong, he or she's this or that, you know you're doing a good job. Say thank you to those people and carry on marching forwards. So I'm not going to stop. I'm just going to carry on pushing it, expanding it, growing it, going with the flow and just seeing where it takes me. And my plan over the course of the next few years is to open up 11 star magic facilities spread around the Christ consciousness grid on the planet. You're not going to find it in a car, you're not going to find it in a man or a woman. You're not going to find it in your son or your daughter. You're not going to find it in a house, in a holiday. Okay? The only place you're going to find peace is in your heart. When we look into each other's eyes and we see into the depths of our souls, when we look into each other's eyes, we can see each other's hearts and we can feel each other on the deepest possible level. I love you all with my heart, with my soul, with every fibre of my entire being. Time's up and enjoy the rest of the event, okay? Take care.